Welcome back, everyone. I'm sighting in my BB/pellet rifle made by Daisy, and I have some targets set up back there that are out of focus about 60 feet away. And as you can see, the pellet to your left is slightly deformed and the pellet to your right is unused. I pumped this Daisy air rifle to the recommended maximum times of 10. And the pellet to your left hit the tire as near as I can tell, and then came back and landed in my lap. So it traveled a total distance of 120 feet, and it has minimum distortion. It's been crushed a little bit, but it has minimum distortion. I would call that a penetrator type tip. It doesn't want to focus, but that's essentially what it looks like right there. So let's take a walk down here 60 feet away and see what the target looks like. I was aiming at the beer can. All these beer cans are filled with water. Get this steady here. 60 feet away. Now I was aiming at the very left one at the letter C. Now this scope right here, zoom back out. This scope right here sucks ass. It isn't even close. I mean, I got some adjustability in it, but it's not even close. So I've only put 2 rounds through it right now. We'll go down there and take a look at it. Well, technically I put 3 rounds through it. Just got through sighting in my .22 caliber air rifle the other day, and it took a little bit of time to get the scope where I wanted it to go. So this letter C right here, anywhere in this letter C is what I was actually aiming for, but the optics on that scope that were provided for that Daisy air rifle are absolutely terrible. I actually end up hitting this can over here first, and if you look down there, there's a small entry wound, but actually, let me go back a little bit. I actually missed all of these cans all together. There's the exit wound. So this is technically the second shot right here. And then it went through the can, and these are all filled with water. Right? And some chewing tobacco. And then it went through that board right there. How do I know it didn't hit any of these? Because first off, the hole is much smaller. This is a .22 caliber. This is where I started sighting it in. This is where I actually started to figure it out. That was my first target, and I started grouping it in, and then this is where I finished off at, and then I was pretty satisfied because my grouping was getting so tight. There's actually 3 holes right here, and technically a 4th one, and maybe even a 5th one right there in the bullseye. I don't exactly remember, but there's a minimum of 3 holes right there, almost right on top of each other. So I was pretty satisfied once I got everything set up. So that's the .22 caliber. The hole is much larger than that one. So the third shot, as you can see right in there, this was performed with a pellet. The very first shot that didn't even make the board was performed with a pellet. I had no idea where it went because I actually didn't even have this in place. So I put this in place to kind of get an idea where the fuck the pellet is going. And so this is my third shot. And then this is actually the entrance wound. Right, this is where it entered. Right here, that big gaping hole. And that smaller hole that you see in the back is actually where it exited, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, I use water because it helps keep the can stationary. So I'm way off target. I'm aiming at this one, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So that's about 15 inches. I'm off target at 60 feet. So I think I'm just going to have to take this scope off and use the open sights in all honesty. That is the worst scope I've ever used in my life. But that That tells me that pellet is delivering a lot of power. For that to be the exit wound right there, which is still fairly large, let's compare the exit wound to this one. Here's the exit wound to that one, right? That's pretty amazing. Let's put them over here. That's a 177, 0.177 caliber, and that's a 0.177 caliber. That's a BB, that's a pellet, and that's what I would call a penetrator type pellet. And it's not a hollow point. I'll just say that, right? So we got a fairly big exit wound, and plus this can was filled with water, so that would mimic blood to a certain extent. But look at the entrance. That's just one shot. And here's the entrance wound with a BB. Amazing, right? So pellets in theory fly more accurately. They obviously deliver a lot more power. That's for sure. So I can only imagine that when the pellet entered in here, the water couldn't expand fast enough, so it ripped back open this entry wound right here. And then the pellet passed through that direction right here, causing that small wound that actually went through the other side, and the pellet is gone for life. Now these are 22 caliber here, so don't even worry about those. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take that scope off. It's absolutely worthless. I don't even want to take the time to adjust it because its optics are so terrible. It's blurry, it's fuzzy, it's got like a double vision, for a lack of a better description. Just the worst scope I've ever used in my life, but pretty amazing. Pretty amazing the difference between a pellet. Let's turn you sideways. Pellet exit wound, BB exit wound. Right? Big difference. Big difference. Have a good day.